Hi, I'm Dan, and this is a video, part of a series regarding the time value of money. So let's say a man wanted to borrow $7,000, and without thinking very clearly, he just goes to a source that says, sure, I'll lend you $7,000. How long do you need it for? And he says, a year and 9 months. And the source says, sure, you have to pay me $20,000 after a year and 9 months. And that sounds a little strange, but he needs the money right away. So he borrows it, and then a year and 9 months go by, and the lender says, okay, I want my $20,000 now. And the guy realizes that, this might be against the law. What he's doing might be against the law. Because there's only a certain, at least in New York State, there's only a certain interest rate you can charge on a personal loan. So what we do here is we're going to manipulate the formula for the future value of money in order to just isolate the interest rate, which is the only unknown. Also, in addition to all this, the lender says also the interest will compound daily. But he doesn't say what the interest rate is. He just says, oh yeah, the interest it looks a little high because it compounds daily. We're working with the formula we've been working with before, the future value of money, which equals the principal times 1 plus the interest rate divided by the number of times the interest compounds each year to the exponent of the number of times the interest rate compounds each year times the number of years that the loan is for. So we're going to manipulate this equation so we can isolate the unknown variable, which is R, the interest rate. So we would divide each side by P, having this. Then we're going to, in order to get this exponent NT out of the way, we're going to times each side by the inverse of the exponent, 1 over NT. So that clears out the exponent on the right side and gives us a new exponent on the left side, which is 1 over NT. Then we're going to subtract 1 from the right side, and also the left side, to isolate it now down to R over N. And what we have is this on the left side. Then the only thing left to do is to times each side by N in order to get rid of the N on the right side, because the N is in the denominator here, and we're going to times it on each side. So we have now N on the left side and N on the denominator canceled out on the right side. Now we have everything we need. We have R isolated in order to find the interest rate. So we're going to plug in the numbers, and the number of times the interest is compounded each year is 365. The future value is given 20,000 divided by the principal 7,000 to the exponent N times T, N 365, T, I said 1 year and 9 months, so that's 1.75, and that's minus 1, close parentheses, equals R. Be very careful about where the parentheses go, because the order of operations is very important. Because we have all the parentheses set up correctly, it's not that hard, it's fairly straightforward. So 20,000 divided by 7,000 is 2.85 and change. The 365 times 1.75, remember this is the denominator of the exponent, turns out to, now we have an exponent of 1 over 638.75, and then close parentheses minus 1, close parentheses again, equals R, the interest rate. 2.85 to the 1 over 638.75 power equals 1.001 and change. This minus 1 is still here, so what we're going to do is we're just going to subtract that from the 1.001, and now we just have 365 times 0.0016 equals R. R equals 0.60. Now, the 0.60 is expressed as the nominal interest rate, the interest rate appearing as a decimal, which is the equivalent of 60%, which is illegal in New York State. Okay, now let's check our work. So remember, one of the last steps was to times 3.65 by this number here, 0.0016, and I rounded it down to 0.60039. But the only thing we're going to do differently when we check the work is we're going to expand this out a number of digits. So we're going to calculate what was the future value of the loan, and it should equal to 20,000 if the 60% is correct. And so we have future value equals the principal times, within parentheses, 1 plus the rate of interest, which is going to be 60% expressed as a nominal decimal, and we're going to expand it out a number of digits just so we get a very accurate answer, divided by n, which is the number of times the interest is compounded per year, every day, 365, then close parentheses, then that is to the exponent of n again, 365 times t, which is the number of years that the loan is for. So remember, it was for 1 year and 9 months, so we're going to say it's 1.75. And so then we multiply this and we get 638.75. If you do the math here, divide that, you get that number, then add 1. That's still the exponent, so then you apply the exponent to this 1.001, you get 2.85 and change, then times 7,000, and it's correct. The future value is $20,000, which matches what the question gave us as the figure.